Welcome back. Instead of the normal tutorial or cinematic drone footage, today I want to go over an editing tip of how to make your drone footage pop a little bit more. So here we've got just a gentle pull in to this bridge. This is at Lake Oroville in Northern California, and kind of long, kind of boring. So what can we do about that? Today we're going to look at Dolly Zoom. A Dolly Zoom is a cinematic effect where the foreground element stays relatively stable and the background zooms. Now, to do this practically, you would roll your camera on a dolly towards the subject and adjust the zoom at the same time. You can definitely do this with a drone. You're going to fly your drone towards your object and adjust the zoom as you do. It's a little difficult to do, and it's a lot easier to do in post. So let's jump out of here. Now, I'm doing this in Davinci Resolve, but you can do this in any editing software. So let's take a look at what the footage looks like straight out of the camera. Just a gentle pull in there. And now let's take a look at it with the Dolly Zoom effect. So the bridge is going to stay relatively stable in the foreground, and you notice the background is doing this kind of morph, twist, zoom thing. Here's another shot with a bridge up on the Feather River doing the same kind of thing. Here's a shot of a tree with the background zooming out as we zoom in on this tree. And here is the City Hall in Sassoon. A little more subtle, but you get the effect there. So let's go over how to do this. So I've got my bridge footage there. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to set that to 200%. Change speed, 200%. It'll make the effect more dramatic and cut the length of that clip down. And now I'm going to make a copy of that, stack them end to end. I'm going to go into the middle, and I'm going to put a cross dissolve right between those clips. Adjust that out as wide as I can. Now, because this is a pull in, I'm going to go to the end of the second clip. I'm going to put a keyframe on the zoom and the XY position without changing the values. And then I'm going to go back to the center there. Now, if you notice, I'm right in the middle of this cross dissolve, and I've got one bridge here in the foreground, and then I've got a smaller bridge in the back. So this is the end of the first clip, and this is the beginning of the second clip. So now I'm just going to take and bump that zoom up until that matches. I'm going to adjust the Y position. I think that's pretty good. So now I can get rid of that first clip. And let's see how that changed that. So now instead of a pull in, the bridge is staying relatively stable in the center of the frame. And then the background is zooming back. So now I've got this second bridge. And if you look at this clip, moving in towards the bridge. So let's do the same thing. Let's take and make a copy of that. Stack them end to end. Put a cross dissolve right in the center. And let's widen that cross dissolve out. Okay, and I'm going to go to the end of the second clip. Again, if this was a pull out, pull back, I would do it differently. We'll cover that in a second here. I'm going to keyframe the zoom in the XY position. Go back to the beginning. And let's bump that zoom up. We got a lot closer to the bridge in this shot. I'm going to have to bump that up quite a bit more. I'm going to have to adjust the X and the Y position. All right, let's get rid of that. And let's see what that looks like. The bridge is staying relatively stable. You notice that tree that we come in on the left-hand side there moves a lot differently. In this example, the background is bending back. All right, in this clip, instead of pulling into the tree, we're pulling back from the tree. And so that requires a little bit of difference. So let's stop that. We're going to make a copy just like last time. We're going to put a cross dissolve right in the middle. Now, instead of setting a keyframe at the end of the second clip, we're going to go back to the beginning of the first clip, and we're going to keyframe zoom and XY position there. Now let's move to the split between the middle, and you notice I've selected the second. When I jump there, it selected the second clip. Then I take the back arrow and drop back, so I'm selecting the end of the first clip. And now I'm going to zoom that up, just my X and Y. And now I'm going to get rid of the second clip. And now we get a nice Dolly Zoom effect there with that background getting kind of crazy. Same thing in this clip. I'm doing a pullback and my elevation is changing. So let's make a copy of that. Stack them end to end. Cross dissolve in the middle. Go to the beginning of the first clip because this is a pullback. Keyframe the X, Y, and the zoom. Jump to the middle. Left arrow to get me back on the first clip. Now I'm going to zoom that up. You know, it's a little busier, so it's harder to see that. But as I start getting closer, it becomes easier there. And I'm just going to adjust that until those images kind of line up. Now we'll get rid of the second clip. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so my building is staying relatively stable in the middle, and I'm getting the Dolly Zoom effect that slowly reveals more of the background there. So if you'd like to see more videos like this, tutorials on different editing tips, as well as the drone footage, please let me know. As always, remember, if I've earned it, I'd appreciate a share and a subscription. And don't forget to like this video. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.